Hello, would you like to guess what day it is? Gotcha, it's actually not Thursday. It is actually, in fact, a Friday. It is the last kick of this readathon semester on my last book for my career, which is fantastic. I have done some reading, but the book that I'm reading is called Bright Young Woman. This is for my prompt of random letter number for the title. I got 16, and I believe I counted this right. I don't know how to feel about it, actually. I am close to halfway through of this, and I like it, but I'm not like extremely hooked into the story. I'm following along. There's some nice themes, there's some nice discussions. It's overall quite like low mood if we're gonna talk vibes wise. It's obviously tragic. It is about a presumably serial killer or a killer of a sort that affected two women, and they meet and they share their stories, and we kind of, well, it's not necessarily that they share their stories, but we see their stories being told from their POV. Throughout it all, I'm kind of like, I understand what's happening whilst we read it, but overall it's slightly vague without actually being vague, if you know what I mean. It's just kind of very flowy in the way that it's being told. So I'm not too sure, I'm not too convinced just yet, but you know, halfway through, so I'm sure we're gonna move, and I am enjoying it when I'm reading it. It's just not one of those that is like begging to be picked back up, which is funny because I actually thought this is going to be that kind of thing, as you would expect from a thrillery type of subcategory. We are planning to go to town tomorrow because I really desperately need to leave the house. It's actually been quite nice outside, but I've just been very low on energy and health in this week, and so I've not really had any leftover spoons to do anything interesting post work, which is a little bit unfortunate. However, today is my injection day for my migraine preventative medicine, and they are monthly, and sometimes the last week is quite rough. So I'm hoping it's just that case, one of those. Like it's not always the case, so it's not really a rule, but I'm hoping that that's just what's happening, and I'm gonna start feeling a little bit better next week. But I wanted to welcome you, say hi. I'm starting late as always, and thank you so much for watching this. I know these are not the most popular videos of mine, so for those who do tune in, I really appreciate you, and chat to me in the comments because I love hearing your thoughts and how it's going for you, and it just gives me the warm feelings. So, alright, I'm gonna go because I'm kind of on a time crunch here, but I will speak to you soon. Got myself an assorted snack. We have strawberries, we have rice chili crackers, and we have a little bits of chocolate. I'll put my audiobook on, and you already know what's going down tonight. I have a million and one things to do, but instead I think it is time I relax because it's 8 o'clock and I genuinely only recently stopped, so I definitely just need to be gentle with myself, put the audiobook on, play some Stardew, and just, that's it for the rest of the night, I think. But I'll let you know how far I get with this, and if I get a little bit more into it. I do really like themes in it. It's very much like, it's much talk about female rage, and obviously that's a whole kind of setup, and patriarchy and what that does and how it works and the real life impact of that. And I do really like it, and there's some one-liners that are very strong, and I appreciate that. There's just little something that's missing. So my hope is that because I will have, you know, a couple good hours sitting here playing, sometimes it requires me to pause a little bit in case a brain cell is being used for things, or I'm looking something up online. Ignoring that, I think I'm really hoping that just being able to listen to it for a bit of more of a prolonged period of time is really going to get me super invested, and then the second half is gonna fly through. That is the hope. If it will happen, we'll see. I don't believe that we're gonna be finishing it tonight, but I could surprise myself, you know, who knows? Hello, I have an update. It is Saturday. We have just came back. We actually left the flat today, so that was fantastic. We have explored a little bit. Well, initial idea was because Uniqlo, I think you pronounce the shop, opened up in Edinburgh, and we were like, sure, let's find out what's the deal in person. Unfortunately, after like approximately 10 minutes of walking inside, I think both me and Logan were like, maybe not. It was extremely busy and the queues were very long. That was a lot. It was a lot. We did pick up a couple of things, which was exciting. This wasn't on our plan per se, but it was very fun to see. So first stop that we made actually was Lush, because they have just come out with the Shrek collaboration, which honestly I'm really hoping that just picks up and becomes like a new theme everywhere. They had a bunch of fun looking products, but we're not like super big on baths. We're kind of like more so shower people, I would say, and especially when it's warmer. They had some fun bath bombs, but we kind of left those be. But Logan did get this Get Out of My Swamp shower gel, which is, I kind of want to sniff it because I don't think we gave it a sniff. Oh,
give it a sniff.
Oh, it looks radioactive, dude. Brown sheen to this green. Oh, I don't know what I was expecting, but shower slime. It's honestly slimy. It's slimy, that's for sure. It says wheatgrass and antioxidant packed with vitamin A, E, and C will leave your skin fresh and soothed. Make like Shrek and harness the power of the swamp for a slimy body wash that will leave you feeling really, really soft and silky. I honestly don't know how to describe it. Do you want to have it a sniff? It's like sweet but grassy.
Yeah, like a little bit not menthol, but like.
I got myself another bee. I use these often. It's like a scrub, but it's also a butter oil. It smells really good. It looks like this. Comes like unpackaged. Oh, I love the smell of it. It is just slightly annoying because it does kind of coat your shower as well with like a slight layer, so you have that to deal with later. Oh, I did not pack this as nicely back in. And then the last thing is this, which I've had for genuinely probably 10 years, the previous bottle, and I just think that they actually have a use by date, and I'm pretty sure the one that I have is far gone. It is a body spray, but I use it as a room spray. So there you have it. We also had lunch and it was delicious. Logan wasn't sure if he was having an allergic reaction though at the end, so I was a little bit stressed for a split second, but I think he's good. I mean, he's alive. Then we have gone and stopped by Toppings, which obviously is this. So I'll show you what I got there, but I want to talk to you a little bit about this because I did finish this when I was getting ready in the morning before we left. Honestly, at some point it just became a little bit of just background noise. I'm pretty sure, you know, there were points where I just, if I missed something, I had no inclination or like no desire to go and turn it back and listen to it again. It is a very slow going. Like, I understand what it was trying to do, and I can say that I didn't enjoy it, but it was just a bit of a slog and quite repetitive, and I think for the length that is, which is not that long, it's just under 400 pages, it felt longer. I don't know how else to describe it other than it genuinely really did feel a bit longer than what it was. I think it kind of got its point across less than 30% in, and then the same point remained true, which I understand, like, you know, I don't know what it was. I get it. I enjoyed it. There were some good lines, but I fear that this is not gonna stay in my mind for a very long time, in a sense that I'll be like, you know, a couple months in, I probably will be like, oh yeah, I forgot I read that. Slightly unfortunate review, but you know, it's alright. The first one that we got is The Familiar. This is the new Liber Dugo. I say new, it's actually been out for a little while. Oh, I didn't realize the edge is quite like dirty. That's okay. That's alright, whatever. These are the end papers they have, and they have a little foil on the front, which is quite fun. I was kind of debating waiting for a little bit more information, a little bit more reviews to come in because I didn't have the best time with Ninth House. I clearly had a weak moment in the shop, so we got this. I do really like the cover. It looks like it's going to be... Oh, it has a bloody sticker. Yeah, bastards. It looks like it would be very gothic-y and very interesting. But I thought that about Nine House, and I didn't like, you know, whatever. It's fine. We'll see how it goes with this one. The next hardback, also have funky end papers, we got is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and that's one of the secret projects by Brandon Sanderson, and we don't have all of them, but we do have the ones that I have heard like the best things about. So I've skipped the Wizard one for now because we're quite behind things, but both me and Logan read this author, so this is, you know, working out. But Sanderson really feeds the fans, though. They are well fed over there. And then this one, which I can't quite remember where I've heard it from. Logan kind of picked it up, and then I was like, "Ooh, what's that?" Because it's sci-fi. The one thing I really wish that Toppings did is that they would separate fantasy from sci-fi. They're currently in one section. Whilst it's fine, I appreciate it when it's separated, because, you know, sometimes I'm just like, just give me a clear cut so I can browse my sci-fi in peace. It had two things going for us. So, well, actually three. So first, obviously, it is a sci-fi, so both of us are already intrigued. Second thing, it says perfect read for fans of Becky Chamber. We both are fans of Becky Chamber, so that's the second thing. And then the third thing, it has a blurb from Tamsin Muir, and Logan is a big fan of Getting the Ninth. So it basically, you know, and then I read the first 2 lines of the synopsis. The synopsis is not long, but I didn't make it past 2 lines, and I was like, okay, sold. I don't really need to even know more. And the lines are, in the distant future, climate change has reduced Earth to a hard-scrabble wasteland. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's see. So actually, probably the most excited about this little paperback out of all the 3 books. It's my little mini haul for you, and we have a couple of things to do, and I might start another read. I don't know exactly what. Could go for some extra classes if I wanted to. Good morning. I'm in my slippy apparel as we're preparing for what Logan's gonna call, or what Logan is calling, a work day. But you know, it's not too bad because the said work is packing the bookmarks for the Patreons. So Logan's gonna be helping me, which is great because I do really want to send them out tomorrow. We'll see how we go, but you know, I'll have help from him, and like it's Sunday, so I don't actually have my regular work, so I have more time for it. I send them bi-monthly, and includes 2 postcards as well from me. So I have them all here, and so my first task is to sit down and write these. Then we have to go and check the bookmarks, see that they're okay, set aside those that are not. Then we will sit and put tassels through the holes in the bookmarks, because then we'll wrap the bookmarks in tissue paper, put the Mooney sticker on it, tag the correct postcards with the correct bookmarks, and a stamp and write the names on the envelopes. And then I'm gonna be wax stamping the envelopes shut. Then I'm gonna be doing the labels, and then printing those labels, putting those waxed envelopes into mailer envelopes with like the labels and the customs, and that's pretty much all we're gonna do. So it's gonna take a while, but there are a couple of the tasks from the, sorry, it's so loud. Logan's making breakfast, Zeus is shouting, it's a lot was happening in the morning, but there's a lot of places where I actually can listen, or I actually have to listen to something, or at least I have to watch something, because otherwise like it's too manual of a task. But in good news, we can try and do some listening to an audiobook. If I have actually finished my thing, I finished it. Yay! I successfully passed the first semester. I really hope that it's going well for you too. And I was sitting here, and I even already have Demonology Pass, which is an extra one, which I don't need to, but you know. The remaining promise that I had was a book with a yellow title for animal studies, elemental study source of light on the cover, or artificery for lock and key, inscription for the 3 titles and random pull for it, restoration for a book you think you could cure slumps, and shapeshifting for a blurbed author. And I was looking at the books that I was kind of in the mood of trying, and I found this. I kind of wanted to try it for a long time, but I was never fully in the mood, and I don't know if necessarily I am currently, but it does seem to have like, you know, bone necromancy vibe as well. but make it lighter, which is pretty much, I'm hoping, is going to be like what Invocations was, but instead of being very depressive and sad, we're gonna have a little bit of humor and romance and light fluff. So not entirely going out of that kind of necromancy bone subgenre, but lightening the mood and kind of going a little bit away from that. So I thought that could be perfect. And for this, I both have a candle and there's keys on the cover, so I could actually just pick. So it's between Elemental Studies and Artificary, and honestly both of these I think are subjects that Avantia would show interest in, but I think she would maybe be closer, and it's honestly kind of hard. It's very 50-50. I don't even know which one to go for. Being an elf and everything, probably we can go for Elemental Studies and do the source of light on the cover. So we're gonna count those candles for all of that they're worth. But I'm just gonna show you the edition as well, because it's a special edition from Fairy Loot, so in case you're wanting to see how it looks like. Looks very cute. I'm quite excited. And whilst it being fantasy, what sometimes I will struggle with just audiobook, because this one seems like it's going to be quite lighthearted and heavy-ish on the romance, but hopefully not like twisted love romance, hopefully more Chloe Brown romance. I guess we'll see. I'll let you know. That should hopefully help me with my attention capacities for multitasking and listening to the audiobook. So that is the plan. I will keep you updated.
Took a moment to doff his hat and brush back his overgrown blonde hair with his finger.
Little reading update. I'm actually on chapter 15, which is 150 pages in, so a good chunk actually. Been listening to a lot of it. It's many hours later. We're still working on it, but we made a really good progress. We only took like one tiny break, which I don't know if it's, you know, most advised, but it is what it is. Happy with the progress, but more importantly, very happy with the book. It's very easy to listen. It has enough fantasy to really feel like a world. I also believe the world, which is nice because it definitely does not go too heavy on the exposition. There's a couple of chapters where it's kind of like is a little bit, but basically it is about a woman who is kind of taken over a funeral home. Her family members are there and we have a big family dynamic, and there's a lot of secrets that she needs to keep, and there's a lot of beautiful relationship moments. And then we have, which basically is an equivalent of like Grim Reaper, but not really. He's on this different realm and he is protecting this current realm. I think they're called dredgers, from the dredgers, and but people do die and get taken by the dredgers that he then defeats and brings the body back to this realm. And there's only 2 local funeral homes. They're not called funeral homes. I want to say they're literally called undertakings or whatever. There's usually clues on the body of which one the person prefer to get to. Anyway, so he has to see her and she has to see him, and they really dislike one another. They had a really bad first meeting, and ever since it's just been a lot of animosity and a lot of just really bad timing, because it seems like whenever they do meet up, it's kind of happens to be on a day that her patience is running really low, and she's very irritable, and she says things that she would normally not say it, and it's kind of like the reverse for the guy as well, who, you know, meets her on days that just seems to not be the best, and it all just kind of build up and up and up and up, and which I quite like, because it gives more of a reason for this dislike without being it like pure on hatred, and they're still obviously like very clearly attracted to one another from the very beginning. But the whole premise, which is in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler, is that the guy writes a letter about being lonely and he addresses it to just a friend and puts it into the universe, and the mail system actually delivers it to her, and they don't know that they're talking to one another, but they are, you know, meeting in real life and hating each other, but then writing to one another without knowing who's who or who they are writing to, whom they are writing to. So of course it's going to be interesting to see when they do put those pieces together. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying it this way more than the previous one. I think it really puts it kind of in perspective which one I have a much higher intrigue towards. I think the characters are very likable. The intrigue is enough. Even I was a bit worried about the intrigue because we really play with like our cards on the table. Like there's not, you know, we know who the letters are from, we know who's endgame, we know a lot of things, so there's not necessarily a mystery element to it, but it's working somehow. I think it's maybe the personality and the quirkiness of the writing style just carries this a lot. So anyway, I'm quite happy now that I have a lot of manual tasks that I can just listen to the audiobook with this, and I'm just having a great time. So hopefully that continues, because I know I'm not, you know, I'm here, but I'm not, like, it can still go bad, you know. Like I've been here before when I'm really enjoying it at this point, and then like somewhere around 50% it just starts going downhill. Really hoping that's not going to be the case, and it's going to be one of the really good reads of the year. So okay, well, we have finished, which is fantastic. I'm very, very tired, and it's actually quite late. I'm honestly just enjoying the audiobook so much. I want to continue, but I can't continue whilst I just do nothing. So I'm going to crochet because I'm quite far behind on my cover project, so I thought it would be a good idea to catch up. But I'm just putting in the stock that I have ordered, so I know I have my little spreadsheet, so I know what I have before I select the colors. Oh wow, so I believe my last one that I did was the gender games, I think. So I need to do one for Crimson Moth, Vera Wong, The Invocations, and Bright Young Women, and then also this one. So I'm actually, well, I have a lot of crocheting to do to catch up, and I need to, so this is perfect because otherwise I would just go and play Stardew Valley, which is I think why I'm behind on the schedule, because normally now I just, if I can listen to an audiobook, then I will be playing Stardew Valley, and I love it. But I've sat on that chair all day today, and I do not want to even look at it currently. So I'm gonna relocate and gonna get a little bit more comfy, and then do a little bit of this. So I think we're gonna go for Crimson Moth, which is fun because it's fun colors. Whilst I listen to this and start getting caught up, because I feel like if I leave it too far, this is where we get to our danger zone of maybe we're gonna drop this project, which we can't. Like, we can't. I have all this yarn, and I'm so far in it now. I've never been so far in, and we're not even halfway through the year. So, you know, we gotta keep on top of it. It's Monday. I'm wearing my overalls. I think this was very much inspired by Mercy. Update number 1. I did finish the square for this, and I pretty much stopped there. Then I swapped to physically reading the book because I was just so into it, and I was too tired to do another square. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I did stay up reading past midnight because I just really wanted to finish it, and I did. So I finished this in one day. I'm so impressed by it and myself. I had so much fun. I genuinely have had such a hard time with romance recently, so this was actually a very nice surprise. Even though technically this is a fantasy still, there's definitely more than just the romance. We have, you know, different plots, but they do seem to be kind of happening mainly around romance. It's definitely primarily romance is how I would class it, I think. Was it predictable? Very, very much so. I don't think anything was, you know, too surprising, and I do thing at certain points. I was just like, oh, come on, just talk to each other. Or we did have some miscommunication, and there were some frustrating parts where we just want them to do the thing that we know is going to prevent whatever the 75% fallout is gonna be happening about. But at the same time, I understood the hesitations, and I then equally understood the upset on the other person's part, so it bothered me less than some other ones. Let's just say that. I really just simply adored it. It was definitely, it was a little bit cringe in parts, but then I feel like that's almost unavoidable. And it was nothing compared to some other ones that I have perhaps read recently and talked to you about how much I did not feel positively about. But this one, I'm so excited for the new one coming out soon. Definitely gonna be picking that up, and it's also refreshing seeing the characters. I don't remember how old Hart was. How old Mercy was. I'm pretty sure it was mentioned, but Hart was 36, which is quite nice to read about. And the next book, I think they're in their 40s, 50s maybe, so that's also gonna be interesting to pick up. But it was so sweet, and it was so heart-wrenching. It was so mwah. I wish we had a little bit more time to spend with people at the very end, but just being cautious to not saying too much. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and I haven't read it through Copile, but it's at least 4 stars and maybe even 5. I don't know, it just felt so refreshing to be so invested without having the super high stakes of the world. I mean, we did have a little bit, but it was just nice. Can you tell I liked it? So now I only have today and tomorrow. I say only, I still have today and tomorrow, but I don't know whether to try and squeeze another book in or just call it a win and finish up here. Hello, little update, because I failed to update you yesterday, but I have picked the final book. We'll see if I can actually manage to finish it today. But the book is actually called Sociopath. I am 23% in, so I have listened to this when I was doing a couple of chores yesterday and then making, yes, you guessed it, soup. I don't know why it became such a meme that I make soup all the time. I genuinely don't, but it seems that way anyway. I'm enjoying it so far. It is a kind of memoir type of non-fiction book. I thought it would be nice to give a little of a mix in between all the fantasies that I've read. Plus, it's one of those that I can then listen to a little bit more whilst I do other things, and I thought that was perfect since there's many tasks at the end of the readathon. I am going live in 25 minutes to do very somewhat impromptu after work sprints, which will be met with the appropriate amount of energy levels for an after work sprints. But hopefully that's gonna be okay, and hopefully none of you are expecting anything great, because I have zero preparation for these, and we're just gonna chill, and we're just gonna make sure that we log the books and whatnot, and end up on a hopefully high note. I might actually just be cheeky and play some Stardew on the side whilst we sprint, because I have not had a chance to do that a lot in the last couple of days, and I really wanna. So, but that's the update. This is written by a person who, well, I've not gotten to a diagnosis, but they are talking obviously about themselves, and it's an interesting perspective. It's interesting. But yeah, it is the last day. It has equally gone really quickly, and also April felt like forever. It's a very confusing. The time is a weird soup, confirmed. Okay, I'm gonna go because I'm gonna do a couple of last bits before the live stream, but I will check in with you afterwards. I don't know how long I'm gonna be sprinting. Probably not too long, but you know, I always say that and then end up chatting for way too long. All right. Hello, good morning. I was listening frantically to this audiobook last night. So at the time that I was done, it was way too late. I was half on and did not have it in me to update you on camera. But I'm here today to let you know that I finished it, and we can scroll out one more, and obviously that is the end. I don't even know if I mentioned it, but I read it as book you think could cure slumps, because I genuinely do find sometimes nonfiction is a good palate cleanser for me. Obviously for some people it will be the palate, so it really depends. after reading it, I wouldn't put it on a list of a book that would cure a slump for me personally. But look how my list looks like. Hey, so I actually had 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've done 10, and I had 4. Well, lore is a bit of a cheat, but 9 books. Nice. Very happy with that. The book was alright. I find myself feeling this quite often recently, and not necessarily like recently, but just in general, this is quite a common comment for me to make, so take this with a grain of salt, I guess, but I just felt like it was fine. It was interesting. It offered a perspective that I don't read from often. From someone who studies psychology, it was interesting seeing that as well. But I do think that it was maybe a bit longer than it needed to be. I think it was, similarly to Bright Young Woman, quite repetitive in a sense that I felt like we were making similar points consistently throughout the book, which is fine, but without everything else adding on, you know, like obviously this book does not have a plot per se, it is a non-fiction. This is obviously going to be slower for that reason as well. It's, you know, without that, it's difficult when you're not getting new information and, you know, the likes. I'd probably say it's a 3-star. I don't think it'll be higher, but it was interesting, and I enjoyed it for what I was looking from it. I think maybe I wanted it to be a little bit more rounded, but I also think it's pretty unique, and if you have an extra interest in this, it's a very nice account to read from, because it really doesn't sugarcoat things, and it's nice. But that concludes it. So I think I will next catch up with you probably when I have the stats and end result of this. So as of this moment, we are at 15,334 books with 5.1 million pages read, which is amazing. But I'll let you know when people actually finish logging, because I know a lot of people do it at the very end. I'll get back with a little bit more stat overview, but I'm gonna go back to work. And that's it. I just wanted to update you on this. Hello, I am here with the final results of this spring semester at Orilium. First of all, congratulations. You have done it, I'm presuming. If not, okay, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to... We once again have very, very impressive stats, and I just wanted to share some with you. Doesn't, you know, we don't take it too seriously, so please don't be discouraged by the fact that we didn't quite manage to top our last year's performance if we go simply by pages and numbers, because, you know, maybe your reading was actually more enjoyable, and that in itself is honestly a bigger win. But you know, if we're going by the numbers, we didn't quite get there, but it is also possible that we had fewer people participating, in which case I almost feel bad telling you that we didn't, but we have changed how we collect the data, so we also, I'm not entirely sure, but the numbers we do have are still extremely impressive. So, the very final number of the books read was 17 whopping 973 books. Now, if you just imagine that in one single room, I think it becomes very impressive. And we also really nicely reached 6 million pages read, in particular 6,008,919. So like, just considering how big the numbers we are talking about, but we just gone up to 6 million, which is really, really good. So I am very impressed by that as well. And we honestly weren't even that far behind when you think of the overall numbers as well. We were 3,752 books behind from the previous year's statistics, as well as just under 1 million pages as well. You know, it could definitely be worse, especially since, you know, we were looking at the data throughout and it looked like we were way further behind. But of course, a lot of people do end up logging their books at the very end, after, just before the form closes, and they don't log throughout. Well done. I do want to point out that Order of the Crescent has kind of historically been the more saturated guild. It's a more popular choice, I guess. And normally it is almost by half, so like 2 times more Which is why, of course, we have majority of the books being logged from the Order of the Crescent Guild. But when we average it out, we do have some other numbers. So some guilds have read either longer books or overall more pages per person compared to the Order of the Crescent. So let's see if this time other guilds have competed. I am fairly certain that the archivists actually were the ones who have almost consistently year after year read the most books per person, and it makes my heart so happy because thematically for the guilds it makes so much sense that the archivists would be the ones reading the most, and the fact that the archivists are technically the least populated guild, even though the other three are really close to one another, just makes me really happy. And this year was no exception, and there were close to 7 books read per person within this semester. So we had 6.93, and then the Order of the Crescent were 6.56, followed by House of the Arcane with 6.31, and then the Mindwalkers, the last, at 5.79, which is very, very interesting. I wonder if that is also quite fitting. I'm not sure. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was me being in the Mindwalkers putting the stats down. Actually, no, I have read quite a lot of books this time around, so it might not be. Now, for the pages per student is also very interesting, and similarly, the archivists have knocked it out of the park with 2.276 for average pages per, 2,276 pages per student, with the last ones also being the Mindwalkers on this one, but they are very close. Like, I would say they're very, very close compared, the whole thing. And then the median number of books is 5 through all of the guilds, apart from the archivists who got a 6. And I think, just in the spirit of everything, I would like to award 10 extra points to all the archivists who have been reading so incredibly much to make up for their smaller number. I think it is admirable. And honestly, I do think that every guild has performed really, really well in general, and I would like to award 5 points to all the rest of the guilds, just in the spirit of points, just literally. Now I would like to share this table with you. These are the characters that have read a insanely impressive amount of pages, and if your character appears on this list, please award yourself 10 guild points, because it is incredible that you have managed this. It is very, very, very impressive. And then on top of that, I would like to award 10 extra points to a character named Louisa Primary, because 37.6 thousand pages. It's incredible. And I think we can all agree that it is something we are all in awe of. Fun little tidbit is that Restoration was a very popular class this time around. And then a lot of them were very kind of similarly stacked up. But it also warms my heart that the side quests seems to have been popping off. So I also am really keen on feedback if you enjoy the prompts being semi-reading and then semi-not reading. I would like to hear whichever way, so then I know how to curate it going forward. And now, last but not least, this is arguably one of my favorite statistics to look at after each session, because we're looking at the books that just happen to be read more so than others this time around. And equally, we look at some authors, because they don't always correlate, because some authors have a lot of various other works, a lot of titles under their belt, and obviously this impacts the stats. I think this one actually makes the most sense to me this time around, because we have also introduced the book clubs, which I really, really hope people enjoyed. Please let me know what you thought of it. I will probably ask on Discord as well, because I'm very interested in how that went, and I hope that you guys had a lot of fun discussing these book clubs with your fellow guild members. But this one makes a lot of sense because it ended up being a discussion book for 2 of our 4 guilds, which is quite interesting. And it's Fate Inked in Blood. We have read Fate Inked in Fate Inked in Blood was logged 154 times. That is 154 copies of the book being read. God Killer was also one of the book club choices, and that one got read 107 times, coming in as the second place. And then Bride was actually not one of the book club books, but it did get read 93 times as well. Very interesting. Now for the authors, we have Seanan McGuire. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Which is not an author of the 3 books that I've mentioned. Ali Hazelwood, who is an author of Bride, so that makes sense. And then Brandon Sanderson also made the top 3, which is 170 books. Ali Hazelwood is 180 and Seanan McGuire is 192. Most common length of the books logged were between 300 to 400 pages, which does not surprise me. That is kind of like the average of a mid-length book size either way. And that wraps up this semester. I don't know why I always struggle with that. I had loads of fun and I hope you did as well. I have something very exciting planned that I obviously already hinted at the previous stream for the next time, which I'm personally very excited for, and I hope that it will add a little extra layer, I guess, to the whole experience, and especially considering the points. I also have something else coming with, well, mainly Logan actually, but that's going to be a little bit later, but keep an eye on this space and I will let you know when I can. Just an extra thing, it's not a reading thing, but and we're already plotting and planning, and I'm very, very honored that you keep tuning in. And if you're new, I'm so happy that you found this and joined us, and I hope you had a very positive experience to begin with. But yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, and I hope I'm planning on doing the read 20 roll TBR, whatever I called it, in the next for the next bit again, because I had a lot of fun with the previous time. So I hope that you will stick around for that, and I'm gonna, I think, film a little Q&A to just catch up with you. So if you have any questions for me, please leave them here as well. Thank you so much again. Hope you are so well. Please let me know how your experience went, and anything you would like to chat with me in the comments. I would really appreciate, and I read them all the time. Sometimes I don't always reply, but I read them all, I promise. And it makes my day. So I would love to hear from you. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you with the next one. Bye!